Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Model Context Protocol, I guess, talk that I'll be doing. If you are here from IS Sessions or from, um, my server or something like that, you noticed that I was going to redo a talk that I had recently performed for one of our cybersecurity clubs at Sheridan College called IS Sessions, then welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the actual video because now you can fully hear me and see me and kind of maybe understand model context protocol a little bit more. So before we get into everything, I'm just going to go introduce myself a little bit in case some of you guys don't know me. So my name is John. I'm a cybersecurity student from Ontario. I live in Mississauga, if you are aware of the GTA, and I'm in my fourth year for cybersecurity at Sheridan. Some things I like to do on the side: I like to stream on Twitch, just play games, have fun with my friends, play with myself, and I love to learn new things. I always research new cybersecurity topics and new tech and new adoptions and beta technology, stuff like that. So I'm really big into that. So that's one of the main reasons why we're talking about model context protocol, but it is becoming more of a mainstream thing now. So like I said, today we're talking about model context protocol. So we're going to go a little bit into it. Not super in depth, but enough where you can understand the concept of it and what it does. So we're going to talk about the introduction to it. We're going to talk about why it matters, how it works, like how the architecture functions, and anything that the MCP tool uses to talk to your devices, and then also client servers and some security considerations, because like I keep saying, at the end of the day, we are a cybersecurity club. So let's get right into it. So what even is MCP? So as you probably know, there are tons of protocols out there, like networking protocols, file transfer protocols, mail protocols, so much more. So now this is a new type of protocol that allows LLMs to interact with the device. So at its core, MCP is an open protocol that is developed by Anthropic, which is the developer of Claude, that standardizes how applications provide context to language models like Claude. Some other models that can use MCP are OpenAI's models. They just published a standard on it, and Microsoft also just published a standard on it. So anything developed through Microsoft will also have interactions with MCP. I think they just released a Copilot Studio MCP server, so that's quite cool. Yeah, so before MCP, connecting AI systems to external data sources would require custom integration. That would become expensive. Convoluted programming would be a little bit all over the place, and you'd have to do it for each new type of data source, which could be a lot. So MCP aims to eliminate all of those information silos, as I like to call them, which is basically a type of data that is held within a single organization that is hard to access in another group in that same organization. So if HR had some files that they had and they needed to share them with marketing, for example, well, it's quite hard for marketing to get a hold of the files from HR. So that's an information silo. So this kind of eliminates those information silos by providing like a universal standard for all these connections. So it's actually quite cool. And I can't wait to get into it to show you guys more. And this is the logo for Anthropic, if you guys are unaware. It's a pretty cool logo. I like it. So yeah, so now we're just going to talk about why MC matters, why MCP matters, and what does it solve. You can see on the left here. Yeah, so to understand why it matters, we're going to talk a little bit about how the world was before MCP. So I know I talked about that in the slide a little bit, but we're going to get a little bit more in depth in this one. So previously, if you wanted your AI assistant to access your files or API services or databases or just some connection on your computer, you'd need custom integrations for all of those, though. So this would create fragmented experiences, and it could be limited to what you could do with it. And it also raised huge security concerns because your data would be going from different source to API to integration, and you never really know what's being logged. So I mean, you do, but at the end of the day, you don't know everything. So MCP would aim to change that and provides a single standardized way for LLMs to connect with their systems, which is a very cool protocol that I like to use for a lot of my things. And it's cool to see new servers come up for that. So that's also quite cool. So we're going to talk about how it works now. So it takes two things for an MCP client or MCP connection to work. So as you can see, I have an architecture map here, and I think I have some notes here as well, but we'll just talk about it overview. So it works by connecting two things. So you got clients over there, and then you got servers underneath me. So if you ever use a piece of software that has plugins or modules or something like that, that is similar to this architecture. They're just not called plugins and modules and all that other fun terminology. So we have servers and clients with MCP. So servers are the modules or plugins that you are trying to install and use on your computer to connect your device with all these cool things. So, excuse me. So, I was going to say before we get started, but we're already getting started. So, we will talk a little bit about servers and we'll talk a little bit about clients. So clients are stuff like Claude Desktop or Sire, which is an application, an open source application for, interacting with different LLMs and also using MCP. So Sire, you can connect, I think 10 or 11 different LLM providers. So not just OpenAI, not just Gemini, like all the third-party ones. You can even connect LM Studio on your device, which is basically, I'll just close that, which is basically just a way to connect local models to your PC, running them on your device, and then connecting other services to those local models running on your PC. So that's quite cool. I just realized the volume dropped a bunch, so let me just fix that for you guys and for me, and we will continue. I think the music completely reset, if I'm being honest. Okay, that should be a little bit better. I wasn't hearing pretty much anything. So anyway, so let's continue. So I also can't hear anything because it's too loud. Okay. I'll probably cut the video. If not, welcome to the non-edited cut video. So we talked about Claude, we talked about Sire, and then there's also some other cursor clients that you can use, namely IDEs. So the new vibe coding ADEs, or IDEs, I should say. So I use Cursor. I also use Windsurf. It depends which kind of application I'm trying to run. If I just want it to work, I'll use Cursor. If I'm really in like a development type mood, I'll use Windsurf. There's a little bit of more troubleshooting and stuff you have to do with that application, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's a IDE based on VS Code. All your extensions work the same way, but you have an AI integrated into the client. And on top of that, they integrated MCP, which is the Model Context Protocol. And you have your clients and you have your servers, and it basically follows the client server architecture, like the basic client server architecture, and it transports over the transport layer, or it goes over the transport layer. Data connection happens over the transport layer, and it's a secure way for the client and server to talk to each other. And I'll talk about security the entire way through, but I just wanted to mention that the entire way through the development of MCP, security was in mind. So they built it with security in mind. So obviously there will be improvements that will be made, but security was in mind when they were making this protocol. So hopefully a lot of the connections, and well, I'd say hopefully, but they are a lot more secure right out of the box, which is very helpful. So yeah, so like I said, the architecture is a very basic 3 components. You have the hosts, you have the clients, and then you have the servers. The hosts are something like the LLM applications. The clients are the desktop clients that I was referring to, and then you have the servers, which is the actual program that exposes specific capabilities through the standardized protocol that MCP has made. So that is a really cool way that I think it interacts with the device. It doesn't just use existing APIs. It kind of creates an API for the API, which is a really cool way to think about it. So let us continue here. I'll just get a drink here. So if you attended the stream, you'll see that I'm using a different architecture design here, but it's actually the exact same thing. I was just watching a video and somebody had remade this. I will put the video in the comments unless I can find it right now on my phone. Just quickly with my history. No, that's Microsoft's Model Context Protocol. I was watching a few MCP videos today, but I don't think I can find it. But I'll put it in oh no, I found it. Yeah, so the channel is called Byte Go, like BYTE. So Byte Go. I watched a lot of their shorts, but they uploaded an actual video. So I watched their MCP video, and they posted a really nice graphic, which is the one you're seeing on the screen right now. So that's really cool. It's the exact same architecture as before. It's just a little bit visually better, so you can kind of understand it a little bit more. So let us just talk about it a little bit right now. So this diagram shows how it all connects. On your computer, you have an app like Claude Desktop that is acting like the client, or maybe you have a CLI client, or you just have the LLM straight, connecting to the protocol, which is possible. And then you have the protocol connecting to the servers, and the servers handle different tasks, like, reading local files. I'm trying to move out of the way here. Reading your Postgres database, or maybe I can move it over a little bit. Yeah, not really. Postgres database, or your files, or maybe even interact with another API on the web like GitHub or Slack. Maybe you want to read the most current pull requests to your repo, or you want to go over the most recent issues. It can do that for you. Maybe you want to get Slack all the most recent notifications to this specific channel after this specific time. It can do that for you. Super, super cool protocol and how it works. So looking at the connection flow in more detail, as you can see on the left side of my screen, you can see that it follows a standard life cycle. So if we have some time, which I think we will, because it's only been 10 minutes or 12 minutes and I'm speaking a little fast, we will have time for a demo, and I will do a little bit of that and can show you how that works, and I can show you the logs, and you can see the life cycle actually happening in real time, which is quite cool. But we'll go over the life cycle now just so you can understand how it works. So it begins with the initialization. The client and the server will exchange information about what they can do. So the server has information with the tools, which we'll get into what the tools are, and the client will respond with stuff that it can accept. And then you get the message exchange phase, where they communicate through request and response patterns and one-way notifications. And then finally, you get a connection shutdown that can be terminated with a clean shutdown resources, no leaks, no stuff like that. So it's quite a powerful and secure protocol that way. So now I'm sure you're confused when I mentioned tools and resources. So we're going to talk about that now. So we're going to mention resources first, and then we'll talk about tools. This is a little bit more about how it works, a little bit more in depth, but it's not super in depth. Try to keep it a surface level for you guys, because I could talk about this for a while. But so we're just going to define what resources are. So as you can see on the screen, it's data and content that is exposed to servers and clients. So MCP has two main features, other than how it connects to the computer and the server. They're called resources and tools. So we're going to start with resources. Resources, like I said with the definition, they're any kind of data that makes MCP available to clients. It could be file contents, it could be databases, it could be API responses, system data, screenshots, keyboard data, file data, whatever you want. It's there. So resources are application controlled. The client, that meaning like MCP, or meaning Claude Desktop or Cursor, they decide how and when it should be used. And it'll ask you each time that you want to use this. It won't do it by itself unless you explicitly say, do this every single time. You have to approve it every time, which is very cool. I actually like that feature, because you could get annoyed and say, oh, well, I'm tired of clicking yes all the time and blah, 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 blah. But then those are the people that are going to complain about, oh, AI is, taking over the world. It's going to turn my computer against me. Those are the people that turn that setting off. So the setting is there. You can use it. You don't have to use it. But I would recommend that you use it. Yes. So I wanted to mention one more thing about resources. So each resource is defined by a URI. If you don't know what a URI is, it's basically an internet link, like a resource internet link, that enables internet protocols to facilitate interactions with that data within it. It can contain text or binary data. It's just like a helpful way to share resource links around the internet. So the second thing that we're going to talk about how it works is tools. So tools, while resources are about data access, tools are about actions with that data access. So tools enable the server to execute the functionality on device. So you ask LLMs, for example, to create a test folder in your downloads, or to create a test file in your downloads, and it creates it. That is a tool being called by the client, and the resource is your file system. Understand it so far? Hopefully, great. So I know there's no live response here, but we're trying our best. So tools, like I said, are model controlled. They're designed from the API models to automatically invoke them, usually with human approval. I would recommend to leave that on. You can run shell commands. You could integrate APIs with services like GitHub, like I was explaining before. So many extra things. So now we're going to look how to use it. So I've been talking about clients and servers the entire time. So we're just going to go briefly over this. But like I said, I've been using the Claude desktop app for a while, but I don't recommend using it now. I've been having a lot of issues with it. I tried to use Cider, which is great because it's open source, and there's an MCP like marketplace, which is really, really cool. I like that a lot. Which is helpful. Obviously, Claude doesn't have that. You have to go through the JSON and like enter it yourself, or use another MCP installer and like get that working on Claude first, and then prompt the model to like install it for you. It was just really confusing. So I've opted to use Cursor and like another extension, which I will talk about, called Smithery AI on top of Cursor. It's just like a website. You can download the CLI tool to interact with like a large database of MCP servers, which is quite cool. But there's other ones. You can use Claude Code, which is the desktop CLI integration for Claude Desktop. It's like Claude basically coding stuff for you. I'm pretty sure it's closed now though, because a lot of people tried to get into it fast and it kind of filled up. You got Klein, which is I think is also open source. Continue, which I'm not 100% sure if that's an IDE or like a note taker thing, and then Windsurf, which I also mentioned, it's another IDE. And then we just got some icons here. So we got the one on my left is on the other side there is Claude. The one underneath me is Sire, and the one on the very bottom is Cursor. So if you guys weren't aware. So let's talk about MCP servers now. So what are they? I've been talking about them the entire time, but easiest definition is that they are lightweight programs, like I said on the slide, exposing specific capabilities of specific, APIs or things on your computer that you want to use. So they can provide access to local files and systems, which connect APIs, custom tools, and functionalities. They have an ecosystem online of many different types of server lists. You have awesome servers. I think there's mcp.so. I don't know why I'm guessing. I just have them here. mcpservers.so, Pulse MCP, Awesome MCP. But the main one that I use is Smithery, and Smithery is really, really cool. I like it. We're probably going to put it in the demo here just so I can show you guys how it works and stuff. But that's, we'll talk about it now as well. It's basically a way to easily install your client or your server on your client. So, excuse me. You basically find the server that you want. You click on it. Usually you log into Smithery, and then you pick the client on the side what you're using. I pick Cursor. It asks which version you want. You are on a different version. You click this link, and it basically runs an npx command, which is npm, but executing without downloading, if I'm not mistaken. So it executes the Smithery CLI tool. It passes in the tool that you want to download. So usually it's like at the user name / and then the package name. And then after that, it passes in some flags like keys. So you don't no longer have to pass in your LLM API keys. You basically log into Smithery with your with connections to your API hosts, and it grabs the API keys from there and kind of generates a different type of API key. You know, when you put your bank card on your phone for your wallet, it's not your actual bank card. It's like a digital version of your bank card. It's not the exact same number, it's different. That's the same thing here. So it's basically taking your API key from OpenAI or Claude or whatever and converting it into a Smithery API key that, you know, people can't steal your API keys that way, but they can still steal your Smithery API key. So they can't turn it back into the key that it was before, but they can still use that API key from Smithery to do whatever they want. So still don't share it, but at least you're not having to deal with like 10 provider API keys. You just have the one Smithery API key and you use that to install everything, which is really helpful. And then there's another flag where you kind of mention what what client you're using. So Claude desktop or Cursor or Windsurf or whatever it is. And it just kind of generates the JSON a little bit easier for yourself to read. And then you can go and confirm that it's working. Which is quite cool. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the entire presentation. We are going to talk a little bit about security considerations because we are a cybersecurity club. There are several security benefits built in. Like I said, servers control their own resources, and there's no need to share the API keys with LLM providers anymore because you just share them with, you know, either with Smithery or not at all, because you can just connect these servers to and from, which is very cool. And the system maintains clear boundaries, and it also controls its own authentication and access control, which is, you know, amazing. And put a little bit more notes here. We got some best practice. The best practice to keep improving on MCP would be to be always validating your inputs thoroughly, to implement appropriate access controls, and always monitor for abuse of the system. If there's always the monitoring for abuse, and we're constantly auditing MCP, I believe it's open source. If I'm mistaken, then my apologies, but there is a lot of documentation online for, you know, MCP and Anthropic and all that other stuff. OpenAI is implementing it, Microsoft's implementing it. So the knowledge pool for MCP will just become bigger and bigger and bigger. So I just wanted to give this talk to you guys because I thought it was going to be a really cool time, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. So now that we're done that, I will try and we have one more slide. Sorry about that. So future of MCP, I think it's going to get a rapid growth and adoption. I honestly think that we're going to see a lot of companies start to use this and have become a very big standard across the industry, not just the AI industry, like the tech industry. It's going to be really massive. I think it's going to be similar to how REST APIs were standardized and introduced to standardized web service interactions. That I think is on a similar level to how MCP is. I think we're going to see a lot of specialized tools and integrations emerge. I didn't even talk about it, but I'll probably talk about it in the demo right now. There was a Ghidra implementation that I saw that was super, super cool. Maybe we'll demo it here. And then I honestly think enterprises are going to start adopting this like really, really soon. So that was it for me there. There's the icon for MCP tools there. And yeah, so I think I'm just going to pause the recording and then resume it when I'm ready for the demo. So I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching the video. I didn't end up doing the demo. Well, I did do the demo, but I was running into a lot of issues here and there and not a lot of tools. Well, they were working, but of course, you know, when you demo stuff live, everything's going to break. And I watched the video back, and I think it looks more concise without the demo. So we'll leave it without the demo for now. If you want the demo, please comment on the video or message me in the DMs or something like that, and I will for sure do another demo video just on its own, and I will upload that to YouTube as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate you guys watching. And if you came to watch it again because the audio was poor in the live stream, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, maybe I'll start posting more videos like this online as well. We'll see. Maybe this is a good starter. So I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, guys.